Some of tomorrow belongs to us, but it really belongs to the youth of the nation. Young people who have amazing dreams and amazing ideas. We call them alpha dreamers. These are the people who have the capacity to dream, and they can see the chaos, and they can see the confusion, and they have got the capability because they are connected, and they are in billions around the universe, and they are talking and socializing and chatting, and they are the new generation, and this is where the future is. And today we have somebody like that, Hafiza, who is studying justice and security and peace and trying to figure out how all this will evolve. Please tell us about yourself. What were your dreams? What brought you into this subject? And how do you see the role of this knowledge playing into the next generation of entrepreneurs and next generation of the leaders of commerce?
Well, my name is Fasahat Choudhry. I'm from National Defense University. I'm a student of bachelor's, and my basics are peace and conflict studies. When we talk about this basic subject, it's about the two aspects of one thing, peace and the conflict. When we study about peace, that is totally the idealistic concept. When we talk about conflict, it's the realist concept. So we talk about two concepts which go side by side. I did my pre-medical, and I had a passion for Air Force, but I didn't got the chance to join that marvelous force. Then I joined NDU as a student, and now I'm enrolled in it. So what my aspirations before as a pre-medical student were never to be a doctor, because I believe this thing, we the youth are being in a peer pressure. We are always judged, and we are always motivated to go for the engineer thing or the medical thing, so which does not aspire us as a youth. We are always creative. We are always eager to do something which is not done by anyone else. So this brought me to this field because this was as an aspiration. I wanted to do something better than anything else, because some of our youth is involved in the corporate, the forces thing, because they are motivated by their families or their patriotism, and they're more sidelined to this forces thing, or they're sidelined to the engineer or medical thing. Well, when we talk about peace and conflict studies, this is a basic subject which leads to a United Nations or a conflict analysis person. The conflict analyst is a person who analyzes the conflict, the root and causes of a conflict, and then resolve it in that perfect manner. So when we talk about a conflict, we go to the deep causes of it. We analyze it through models, through variations, and through many processes. We go for a deep analysis of a conflict, and then we propose a solution. Rather, we should be going for the conflict management, for conflict resolution, or for the conflict prevention. And there is another concept which we study is the conflict transformation, which is that we need to transfer the negative energy to the positive side. So that is the conflict transformation.
It's an amazing thing, but the way you're describing it, Hafiza, that if we only have half a dozen of you, we could solve all the global conflicts in no time. We will study the conflict, we'll make the recommendation, and we'll get it. But life in reality, it seems that whenever there is a conflict, the perpetual nature of that conflict and the destructive forces behind that makes you wonder that why these conflicts still exist after 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Now, of course, conflict resolution is very good when it comes to corporate, when it comes to business. It is much better than litigation course. But wow, you just said the magic, like you can open this methodology. I think it's very commendable that you gave up pre-med and you decided to take a brand new venture, a brand new discipline, and advance into it. But how do you see, once you get all this knowledge and all this skill, how will you tackle conflicts that are going on for a very long period of time, and no academia or book study or procedures all the way up to United Nations have failed to resolve them? What is your answer to that part?
Whenever we talk about the individuals' actions which can lead to a peaceful environment, talking about don't going far beyond, we should be taking examples of our Pakistani community. We have a very socio-cultural context which is violent in nature. In my opinion, maybe I'll be wrong or I doubt it, but we have a very violent nature. We have a tendency of intolerance. I wrote an article also in the Times of Pakistan over it. It said that we don't need tolerance to go for a person, to be like, we don't need tolerance to tolerate someone. We just have to accept the person as he or she is, so that that person can also survive in this community and can also be the part or citizen of this country. We rather go for our political motives or economic or any kind of personal grievances. We go for that certain things and we make grudges. We go to the cliches and we make clashes for that certain community. And we started on an individual level. We started that I have a clash with a person and I would rather I'll be intolerant about it and I'll brief my friends in my circles about it, and I'll also make an opinion of theirs also that this person is not belonging, or this is not a person who should be belonging to our friend circle and our community, because that person is not capable enough or it's not eligible enough to be part of us. And that opinion would revolve, that opinion would be recycled again and again. They'll go to their families, they'll have their children, and that opinion will gradually grow. So that if we talk about even a conflict that does not erupt in a split second or in a spark, it needs like time. When we study about conflict, that conflict revolves on different aspects. It's like it starts from a very initial latent stage, then it goes like upward in a horizontal or optimum, when we talk about the optimum temperatures. So it goes in that variation, and when it touches the peak of an optimum temperature or a thing in a peak form, then it goes down or it goes up. It does not stays at the optimum temperature. It has to either being resolved or it goes back from the initial stage. So we study this conflict that in a way a conflict cannot be erupted in a day or in a night. So it's an evolution process. It grows and it's developed day by day. So we need to form a peaceful society which is being educated with a peace education. And that is also a United Nations mandate. In a United Nations mandate, we study this thing that the refugees or the people who take asylum from the perpetration of their country, they are being provided with the peace education. Or the people who are being given the rehabilitation of 5 hours concept, like rehabilitation, reintegration, reconstruction, rebuilding, and the 5th one was I don't remember it. Yeah, it was something reconstruction.
Sure.
So these 5 R's are being implemented in that society, which is being war-torn, and after that the conflict resolution has been solved there. So this is the thing that a conflict, now the peace has been prevailed, the conflict resolution has been done. So after that, the very famous scholar of peace education is Johann Galto, who says that we need to focus more over this thing, that negative peace is that we are not in a fear of war, we are not in a war, and positive peace is that we don't fear for war, like we are fearless that war would be happening. So there are two different phenomena which are being dealt in peace education. He's a peace education scholar who has formed the peace education.
What's his name?
Johann Galto.
Where is he from?
He's from Netherlands.
Lebanon? Okay, good.
Netherlands.
And of course, Netherlands.
Yes, sir.
Netherlands. They have amazing scholars from that region. I understand that this is a phenomenal topic because wherever you turn around, you see this conflict, and in order to manage, it's a monstrous problem. But would you say that in the last 5-10 years, have we become more peaceful, or we are increasingly more into conflict? And before you answer that, did the internet and cyberspace provided enough knowledge for people to become more relaxed and let other people do whatever they want, age, sex, gender, religion, culture, whatever? Or do you think it has turned into more complicated situation that we see that? What is your thinking?
Sir, being a youth person, we have a bulge of youth, which is 65% of Pakistan's population. When we talk about the digital...
Say that again. What percentage of population?
65%.
65% population of Pakistan is youth. This is a phenomenal number, and management of this youth is the future of Pakistan. This is an exceptional situation for the first time, and I would like to add to that in a minute, but please continue your sentence.
The digital age has provided us with very much diversions, because when we talk about our ancestors and our elder ones, they tell us stories about the readings and the books and their practical experiences, which we lack. And I totally admit this thing that we lack, and our coming generation would lack more, because we, the 90s children, we have seen the both eras, the 90s and the 2000s. So we have seen the digital age also, and the we cannot say the stone age, but the developing stage. So we have seen both the eras. So we know this thing that we need to be more focused than to be divergent by these digital digital things and the gadgets and all those internet stuff. When we talk about the information which we get through internet or these gadgets or digital things, that is in a bit form. We don't have the information which is properly being given to us. That is not the knowledge we get. That is information which is in the bits form. So we don't have the proper knowledge about the scenario, about the environment, or what is the ambience we're living in. So we are rather being diversionized by the digital things, by the substance abuse, by the sexual orientation, or by the other exemplary in like phenomenons. So in my opinion, there is also a relevant we need to be focused on this thing also, that either the youth is unskilled or they are illiterate, or the third factor is that they're educated but they're unskilled and they're unemployed also. So we need jobs for them, or either we need to skill them also. But we need both of them, because as a youth, you need to be skilled also and you need to be educated also. Because there are engineers, there are doctors, there are other professionals who have the education but they are unemployed and they don't have any job. So we need to skill them also. If they need to go for entrepreneurship, or they wanted to join some business sector, they want to invest in that certain thing, they should be given the platform. They should be provided with the better situations which can lead them to what their aspirations and dreams are. So there is a very fine kind of need for our government also to pave their policies and their ways for this youth, because in this election or before that also, the youth has participated, and I don't know about the previous ones because I was not that much big. So I've seen this one, and I've seen this thing that youth has contributed. I don't know about any other ratio, but 54% of the youth has voted. And in my university or in my friend circle, all of them have voted. So this has been a very big change, that youth has been involved in the electoral processes, and this shows the presence of youth. So we need to aware them more, so that they should be taken away from this drugs addiction, sexual orientation things, and they're more focused on the goals and prosperity of the nation. That would be more fruitful.
You know, we are very big supporter of the youth, and especially when we brought out the Alpha Dreamers, that how these billions of people around the globe, by 2025, we have a brand new generation that is post-internet. By 30, they mature. And by 3035, you will have a society that was born in that cyber age. And that cyber age will have no tolerance for the kind of shenanigans that went on in the last 10, 20, 30 years of political administration. I think if aliens were to come to this planet, they would see nothing but a total failure of civilization. That what have we shown, what do we have to show after 2,000 years? 100 countries are involved in direct conflict that is killing people every minute of the day. Many thousands of people died since we started our conversation. And this is where no Medicare and no health and no education and no job and no this, but you can buy a $200 million apartment or a $500 million yacht and so on. The disparity, the conflict, the situation. We believe that the youth, for the first time, will reach a critical mass, and then they would perhaps have the solution to our civilization, because capitalism, our political system, our political parties, our banking system, our education system have reached its peak and is about to collapse. And it will not take much long to collapse. In order to create change, it's an impossibility. The only solution that we have, if 15, 20 years from now, the youth will come together. And then they will say, we're all raised in this. Because they would be the most, we discussed this earlier, they will be the most advanced knowledge people ever in the civilization. A 10-year-old will have more information than of the PhD of today. And they would have more information than the historians of the last millennia. So that kind of logic is required, because our governments and our procedures and systems were formed historically out of desperation. Everything was created out of a conflict, a war, some desperate situation. It was really not looked at. Now, this is a idealistic view, but then you never know. But I think you as a minister in some government perhaps could play a very big role, or maybe run a country. We also have said that 10, 20 years down the road, there'll be no need for the government because artificial intelligence will manage it. Your income taxes, your passport, your this, your that, your tax collection, everything. So what is government? Government's job is to really service the people and do it, not to run and control and so on. But I think you bring a very interesting perspective, and if you run, I'll vote for you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much for coming, and I think all those people listening, they're making a note and they will contacting you for your next leadership campaign. Thank you so much. Yes, we will continue.